Hello, good people of the interweb. Once again, it is that time to bring about a little justice. It is time to step on some feet and put boots to asses. And trust me, there's a collective few of asses I want to stuff my size 12s in. This article is from Kotaku.com, and this is something that I've been wanting to talk about for a very, 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 very long time. This is entitled, Why Fanboys Act Like Jerks. And this is, mind you, our world. The world of the geeks and the dweebs and the nerds and the otaku combined. We're the special people. So yes, to those who will feel offensive to this, you have only yourself to blame. Because honestly, there's some people who need to chill the fuck out. So here we go. Why Fanboys Act Like Jerks, which was posted yesterday. And this is from K's of McDonald. Follow to Fanboys. Despite the amount of annoyance that console fanboys have caused me over the years as a person writing about video games on the internet, despite the endless common threads they have derailed with their arguments, I still have a small reserve of affection for these people. There's a passion inherent in fanboyism that's actually quite inspirational when it's not allowed to get out of hand. It's the kind of passion that brings us fan art and cosplay when applied positively. There's something endearing about someone who just really, really loves a thing. When not remotely endearing, though, is when that excitement twists into something ugly and vicious. When jerks fashion their intense passion for Xbox or PlayStation into a gnarled club with which to lash out at everyone else around them. The modern fanboy, quote unquote, is often offensive, small-minded, loudmouthed, and impressively unreasonable asshat who throws insults and wild conspiracy theories around on Twitter and in comments threads, harassing and insulting people, poisoning the well of discussion with their hate. You know, like YouTube. This phenomenon has warped the definition of fanboy over the years from super passionate fan to total asshole on the internet. You know, like YouTube. They've gone from endearing human to hateful. I am fascinated by what causes people to behave in this way. Firstly, the psychology behind the deep irrational attachments that people form to brands and products that have absolutely nothing to do with them. With them. Really. And secondly, what causes some people to be such jerks about it? I mean, I grew up a fangirl. I was a Nintendo kid through and through, and as a result, I have a deep attachment to Nintendo games. That will probably last for my whole life. You go, girl. But that stopped at pretty much the same time I stopped playing cops and robbers in playgrounds. Why is it that it seems to persist in some people well into their teen years or even their adult lives? They don't know how to grow up. Dr. David Lewis Hodgson was a clinical psychologist for many years. Now he's the director of research at MyLab International and author of The Brain Cell, a book about how marketing manipulates our minds. I thought he might be able to give some insight into the psychological motivations behind fanboyism and how the brands involved might court it. What I learned from our conversation really helped me to understand fanboy motivations, as well as the more general unpleasantness that so often colors internet conversations. Brands play psychological tricks to make you like the product more. is something that I think most of us already knew, but Dr. Lewis reckons that this is one of the biggest secrets of the success that companies like Apple have in turning people who bought a thing into people who are really, really into that thing and want everyone else to buy it too. Oh, hi, PlayStation 4. No, I'm not interested in you. It's to do with the way in which the brand is set up, marketed, and managed, and very often the brand will become bigger than the product. He says, if we take Apple, for example, there are Apple and PC users, and Apple people see themselves as a completely different brand. The amount of excitement they generate and the way people identify with Macs is totally out of proportion to the product itself. You find quite a lot of that. It's generated by a clever publicity, generated by very publicity and marketing. Very clever. It's generated by very clever publicity and marketing. When you open an iBox. Yes, the new iBox. Let me slow down. When you open an iPhone box, for instance, it takes about 7 seconds to open. Increases the anticipation. They build a lot of tricks into this space to make the thing seem different and special. The human mind will interpret the world in a way that supports our existing beliefs. Interesting, even if there is objectively definitely no difference between two rival products. People will invent one to fit with their perception of the brand. There's a famous study that blind tested the taste of Coke and Pepsi. In the blind test, people preferred Pepsi, but once they were told which glass of Coke was which, people almost universally preferred Coke. That preference wasn't just evidence in what they said either. Their brains actually registered two different preferences when their levels of arousal were measured. Our brain can actually override our brain's responses. For fanboys, that means inventing reasons why their thing is better than the other thing, and then spewing them forth in common threads. It also explains the inability to deal with the criticism of their preferred console. That override kicks in. It's not just fanboys who do this. It's all of us. Our fascinating study in the U.S. gave people who leaned left or right politically mocked up data sets that either prove the efficacy or inefficiency of gun control. Why am I saying efficacy? People interpreted the data according to their pre-existing beliefs. No matter how mathematically competent they were, this is very human behavior and has very little to do with intelligence. I've never thought that intelligence had anything to do with being smart, says Dr. Lewis. You can get an ID fix about things, almost an illusion, and can seem real. You seek out people who will support your view. And no matter how weird you view it, there's going to be people out there who share it. And thanks to the internet, they're easier to find than ever before. Tribalism is a powerful force in the human mind. Oh, dear Lord. One way that the human mind deals with all the calculations has to do with a series of rules, often called heuristics, that dictate how we usually behave. One of the most powerful of these is tribalism and out-of-group behavior. We naturally find a lot of our identity in whom and what we are around. In the age of the internet, especially for young teenagers, that identity can actually come from brands reinforced by online community. I'm an Xbox person. It provides a feeling of belonging. Gaming tribes are like the Apple tribe versus the PC tribe, or the Coke versus Pepsi tribe, says Dr. Lewis. Very often companies will set up this kind of rivalry. It sparked our evolutionary history. We like to belong to tribes. We like to belong to groups. And however much young people may feel that they are unique and individual, their individuality is often a part of a group. No one really likes to be all by him or herself. We like to support and positive affirmation from others. It's not much different from supporting a football club in that sense, although to be honest, I'm equally confused by people's deep emotional attachment to a group of men they never met, who kick a ball around on Saturdays. I have to. There is, as expected, more to it on a brain chemistry level. Brain chemistry of a person with a strong attachment to a product is like that of someone in love. Anybody who has ever fallen in love can attest that the rational brain takes something of a backseat for a while you're busy riding an insane roller coaster of happy chemicals. The person has no faults, and anybody who sees any faults in them must be blind or stupid, even if it turns out they are completely wrong for you. I've made the book, brother. I made the book. It's just how the brain works, since it makes sense in evolutionary terms that the love rush, I'm not answering that the love rush usually lasts about a year, or enough. Yeah, that's fine. You're playing Saints Row. That's a friend of mine. He's playing Saints Row the Third. Moving on. It makes sense in evolutionary terms that the love rush usually lasts about a year, or long enough for you to have had enough sex to produce some offspring. After that, you just can't rely on the chemicals. It's revealing to learn that the brain chemicals involved in fanboyism are startlingly very similar. It's like falling in love. What happens then is that you get a tsunami of neurotransmitter called dopamine to the brain, which gives you a huge buzz, says Dr. Lewis. This happens with products. They can do the exact same thing. In fact, when we look at addictive behavior, we find that people become addictive to products. That's how people become obsessive collectors of things like Barbies. The sight, feel, taste, touch of the product will evoke these huge responses in the brain, like getting high. This explains why getting a new thing feels so exciting. It's a very sensory type of pleasure. But just like with people, long-term fanboys can fall in love with a brand or product on a deeper level, creating a connection over the course of years. This is why people get so disproportionately angry if there is any perceived change in that product. We won't like change in the things we are familiar with. We become very comfortable with products, and we develop what feels like a friendship with them, or at the extremes, a love affair. Dr. Lewis says, in summary then, if you diss a fanboy's console, it's literally like you've called their girlfriend ugly to their face or insulted their mom. Hence the high emotions. And the internet has made it easier for people to get nasty. Oh, that is so damn true. This will be news to absolutely nobody, but the animism and the lack of consequence that the internet affords. I know I said the word wrong, but I don't care. This will be news to absolutely nobody. But anonymization. And the lack of consequence that the internet affords is a big reason why fanboyism can turn into a nasty poisonous thing rather than an earnest passion. Studies have suggested that trolls are often actual psychopaths and sadists, which is definitely food for thought. But even perfectly normal people frequently find themselves in horrendous arguments online. You know, like YouTube. Nonetheless, I suspect that most seriously nasty fanboys are just nasty people, which quite likely lonely people. Whenever you set up a view, one way of getting yourself noticed is to put up a contrarian view. Set the opposite as loudly and offensively as possible and you will get noticed. You know, like YouTube. Says Dr. Lewis, I'm gonna run this joke into the ground and I don't give a fuck about it. I think a lot of people want to be noticed. They want to rise above the huddled masses. They don't care how offensive their views may be or how they are expressed. Indeed, they can be a source of pride. They put themselves in a mental state that excuses and explains their behavior to themselves. Very often, people who feel inadequate in other aspects of their lives will try to make themselves big men online. People do usually grow out of it. I wouldn't be the first to observe that fanboys tend to be teenagers or younger. This is because, reassuringly, people do tend to grow out of this behavior. They very often do, just as you grow out of first love. You may fall desperately in love as a 16-year-old, and by the time you're in your first job, you have no idea what you saw in the other person, says Dr. Hodgson. You have to remember that the brain of a young person, the adolescent, or even up to its early 20s, is still developing. And what is happening is an awful lot of destruction going on around the neurons. It's like a gardening pruning plants. The brain tends to prune itself so that it's better adapted to the environment in which it finds itself. Up to that time, people are much more likely to be risk-taking, impulsive, and develop passions for things, people, products, some activities. Reclaiming fanboyism. There's nothing wrong with passion. There's also nothing wrong with a justified preference that someone may have good reasons for holding or caring deeply about things. Agnosticism is boring after all. If anything, the psychological explanations behind fanboy behavior prove that there are archetypally human responses. Might be irrational, but humans are rational. I wonder if there's a way to reclaim fanboyism from the jerks to just be fans again, essentially. Fanboyism is essentially human, and if it especially prevalent in tech and gaming, which it definitely seems to be, then we'll never eradicate it. Instead, perhaps the challenge is to redefine it. Kids McDonald's, Kotaku's UK editor, currently working through a debilitating addiction to FTL on the iPad. Follow her on Twitter if you're into that. Well, I am gonna be blunt, and I'm gonna be honest about this. Now, fanboyism have been around since the 80s. And I do mean it because everybody remembers the classic gaming console wars. Because originally we had Nintendo and Sega. These two bumped heads with each other for over a good 10, 15 years or so. Until Sony came on the scene. And then, Sony was basically, you had everything coming out. You had Sony coming out on the scene. You had the Jaguar coming out on the scene. You had the Philips CDI. You had everything that was coming out on the scene between the late 90s, the early to late 90s. Everything was just coming out just because they want to be the top dog. The Jaguar fell because of low sales. And of course the games, to my knowledge, just didn't work. PlayStation held on because it kept dishing out good games. So did the Saturn. But the problem lied in, releasing the games. And it's the same thing with the Dreamcast. The Dreamcast died out horribly because the same thing happened. Games. They weren't shipped out enough. There weren't a lot of games that were being shipped out to the domestic version of the Saturn compared to the imported version. And of course, like I said before, all those companies they were nothing compared to what Nintendo and Sega had. They had like a serious rivalry, and thus it sparked a debate between all us gamers back in the day. Now the gamers of now, they're quite, in a word, hungry. They're ravenous. They want to make sure that this will be the one to be the most dominant force in the gaming universe, and it's going to blow your mind. And I'm saying, yeah, whatever. Now, I'll be honest. If I had taken sides, there was a reason why I had taken a side. For instance, when I was a kid, I was dubbed as the kid who has everything. I had just about everything. I had the Nintendo. I had an Atari 7800, the NES one, the NES two, and what I mean by the NES one is, with the robot and everything, the robot and the zapper light gun. I like to call it the NES one. When I had the Universal set, then the action set, which was the NES two. So, for those who don't know, yeah, the NES one was everything, like the robot, and two controllers, and two borderline 3 games. So, when I got the NES two, I just didn't want the other parts because I didn't really need the zapper light gun or the controller. I have the controller. It's just I needed the NES. So basically, bought an NES. Then I went and then I had gotten a Super Nintendo. And mind you, the reason why I got all these consoles was I was doing really good in school. So therefore, I got rewarded. So mind you, I never once had to basically beg for anything. Because as long as I kept doing good in school, there wasn't much I had to do. So, oh, your birthday come around? Boom, you get this. Oh, Christmas comes around? Boom, you get this. It's like I was being promoted through the ranks of playing video games. So, throughout the various years that I've had, that I've been playing games, I've had the NES, the Super NES, the Game Boy, the Game Gear, the Sega Genesis, the Sega CD. I skipped out on the TurboGrafx, Philips CDI, and the Nintendo 64. But I got myself a PlayStation 1, a PlayStation 2, a Wii, Xbox 360, a Nintendo DS, and a Nintendo 3DS. Now, I will honestly say this. When the PlayStation 3 came out, PlayStation 3 was basically like what League of Legends is now in China. People will die for it. Okay? People will get so passionate about it, they don't actually give a damn about their own life, which is a sad thing. I once heard about a news article that somebody actually died for getting a PS3 because somebody wanted a PS3 more than born today and had to kill somebody for it. It basically just told me, okay, you know what? I don't want no console if I'm going to die for it. If somebody's going to shoot me dead where I stood just for a console, you can have it. I'm not gonna get shot for it. I'm not gonna die for it. I'm sorry. I love video games, and to the point in which I could say, hey, I can go on Steam, and now I'm a PC gamer, by the way. I can tell you why people act like jerks, because why fanboys act like jerks. Personally, it's the numbers. You watch TV or you be on the internet, and the amount of people say, "I'm going to get this and I'm going to get that." I'm like, okay. Consider how much you're going to have to pay for this. Because people don't really think about, you know, how much it's going to cost to actually pay for this thing. So then people don't put in. Certain people don't put in the other options. Like, okay, you have to look at your room. You have to find a place to put it. And then you have to make sure that this place is safe from everything. That's what most people don't know. Then you have to make sure that you have a working internet connection, just so you can get online. And then once you get online, then you have to make yourself an account. And then once you make this account, then you have to make a password for said account. And then you have to make sure that this password is indeed workable. Therefore, you would have to go through all this mess just to basically go through all this stuff. You have to go through all this red tape just to play a game. Me, this is what I do. I'm not on my 360 or my Wii that much. I was being asked, okay, what if I were to get... I'm not worried about it. Because see, the thing is, it's all about control. If you don't have control of yourself, you're just going to get yourself in a whole lot of trouble. Because honestly, that's what it's about. The game controls the people, and it's not right. When a console controls a person, you're losing yourself to the business. And this article basically says, hey, the reason why is because it's the business. The business is taking control of you, and you're not taking control of the business. Like, do you really need this? Because think about it. You have to put it all together. You have to hook it up to... things you gotta do just to play one game, it's so stupid. It's like, if I was at a store, alright, and I didn't know what to get, I would have a hard time trying to figure out what to get for 2 weeks or 3 weeks in advance, And this is a grocery store, mind you. So I will have to do this. I said, for tonight, I will make myself this. While I'm here at the store, I can make myself a salad, get myself a sandwich, probably get myself a sushi, and probably a soda, a 4S, really. After that, then after I get myself out the way, then I say, oh, well, let me see. I want to also get this for couple of days time, salad mix, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. The list goes on and on and on. Stuff that you need, the stuff that you want to have around. Like, some snacks or something like that. That's where you're taking care of business. This is why I don't really... when it comes to games... I'm going to stand my ground. I'm going to say, why should I get this? You're telling me I should get this. Why should I get this? Because you say I should get this? You're not giving me a reason to get this. I said, and personally, I don't want it. I'm more of a PC gamer than I am a console. So therefore, it don't matter to me. If I find time to play on my PC, then I will. My consoles aren't going anywhere. My PC isn't going anywhere. And for the record, it's like, do I really want to pay $500, $600 just for a PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 2? I don't care. It's, a PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 3, let alone an Xbox One, and let alone a Wii U. I mean, they drop the prices, I might consider it. Otherwise, it's not really a factor. Why people argue is because, oh, this game is coming out. This game is coming out. All the popular games. People just want the popular games just so they can say, I have this game. And to those who know what I'm talking about, and you know who you are, then you should not try and say, well, I said, no. I said, because I have control of what I want to do. If I feel there's a sale going on and I want to jump in on sale, I'm going to go to GameStop. I'm going to get myself some Steam cash. I'm just going to come back here and just say, okay, I'm getting this. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to install this game. It's going to take me a few minutes or a few seconds. Start up. Play for a round. That's it. Or people want to send me a game. Hey, you can do that. As long as it's a good game. But, I pride myself on having, something decent. I don't want anything stupid coming into my inbox. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, very funny, motherfucker. They're very funny. The point is, I believe being a fanboy means that you like what you like. It's like, if I'm in cosplay, yes, I'm going to be in cosplay because I want to feel more like being in the part. If not, I'm not losing sleep over it. I'm really not. I'm not going to lose any sleep over this, and, just because I don't have a suit on, that doesn't make me think I'm not going to Anime Expo all the same. I'm still going to go to Anime Expo regardless of if I have a costume on or not. Besides, there are people who have far better costumes than I do, who wear them really, really well, and that's saying a lot. Some people, they go in groups. I don't go in groups because I don't know that many people, or even if I did, there's nobody who actually knows me, and that's fine because if there were people who actually do know me, they would talk to me and say, "Hey, aren't you Pookie Izzy 7?" Like, yeah, I'm that guy. I'll say, I'm just looking around. If you want to join me, please feel free to. And I had to say this. We actually talked about it before. We joked about this. So the guys and I, we were talking about what if Random Co-op was in Anime Expo. I said, okay. So the following would happen. We're all dressed up. I said, there'd be myself, Sheena, Big, Ryu, Mag, 40 if he's available, MBE if he's available. And I think that'd be it. Just because she's available. But like I said, the main group, we would all be there. We would all be dressed. one person would have the camera, and that one person, well, probably two people. Probably two people, because I would have a camera and Ryu would have a camera, and we would take pictures, or actually make videos of us going through Anime Expo, just because it's happening. We're all here, RCO hits Anime Expo, just because. I know it's an awesome idea, and pretty much one of these years it will probably happen. We all go out to Anime Expo together. After that, we all go out to dinner. Somebody's paying. Somebody pays one night. We all go Dutch. Yeah, that's right. We all go Dutch. Yeah. Right now, that's gonna sound funny, but otherwise, I part myself from being a fanboy, because being that I am an otaku, that means a lot more, because that means I have no kind of opinion when it comes to games, because I don't. I like to play a game just because. Just because I love to play a game. I want to, enjoy myself when I play a game. I don't want to be harassed by thousands of idiots just because they don't like this game for some reason. I mean, the problem with the game, this gamer generation, is that y'all too fucking picky. You want an Xbox because of the graphics, and you want an Xbox One because of the graphics. You want a PlayStation 4 because of the games that are out. You want a Wii U because of this factor. I mean, y'all too fucking picky. I don't want any of these. And even if I do want any one of these, I just want it for one reason and one reason only. Just to play a game. I can care less about graphics. Because if you know how I am, and you should be, then you know that graphics don't mean shit to me. As long as I can play the game. That's what matters. As long as I can play the game, graphics can look as shitty as they want to be, and I can still play a game. I can care less. You see me play through Street Fighter, the movie, the game, so therefore, that should not play a factor as in what I show on my channel. I mean, hell, I'm still going through playing Ys Origins and Lego Lord of the Rings and Pac-Man. They all have their respective levels of difficulty. They don't have, big graphics or anything. And even if they do, I don't focus on the graphics. I focus on what I'm doing in the game. I know I know it's a rant. I'm sorry if I had to rant, but I got to. Because like I said, I'm stepping on some fingers. I'm stepping on some feet. I'm putting boots and asses right here, right now. And I know I cannot control what people like. But the one thing I can say, personally, is gamers of this generation, y'all need to stop arguing and start appreciating. Stop arguing over the most stupidest of shit that you will ever find on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, or on any kind of thread or any kind of community forum that you frequent. Because you're going to worry your ass about, you're going to worry yourself about what this person says. Or, it's fine that you have an opinion, but my God, please shut the fuck up. Honestly, shut the fuck up. You like a game, that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion of it. If you rank it as a class S among all games, that's your opinion and you're welcome to it. However, do not force your opinion upon anybody else because not everybody's opinions are the same. And if you're going to try to defend it, don't. It's just an opinion, okay? Just chill the fuck out. There's no reason to call somebody out their name and call them a douchebag, a faggot, or a nigga or something else out of the name. It's like, shit. How would you like to be called cracker? Huh? Honk it. Well, whatever. Nobody wouldn't like that shit. Nobody wouldn't like to be called an Alabama porch monkey. Or a Louisiana snake or a piece of Kentucky Fried Chicken. Nobody don't want to be called that. So that's the thing. So to me, that's the thing. It's fine that you have an opinion, but please, if you have an opinion about to say something, if it's negative, keep that shit to yourself. Nobody wants to hear anything negative. And that's my fault. And like I said, nobody doesn't want to hear that shit. And even if you want to say it, it's not worth it. Seriously, it's not worth it. You're going to talk about it, fine. You can talk about it. But don't go as far as slinging insults at one another just because, oh, you have this. Yeah, I have this. So what? It's like comparing it to being a Let's Player. What are you doing? The question lies, what are you doing as a Let's Player? Are you doing this just to get notice? Are you trying to get some popularity? Or are you just doing it just because you enjoy playing the game? And, with partnership, that's a whole different level because, I would hear people say, oh, I've seen this person's Let's Play of it. Oh, I've seen this person's Let's Play of it. Yeah, that's good. That's fine. Okay, so exactly what are you doing on your channel? And what are you doing this for? Are you doing this because you enjoy certain games? You want to share gamer awareness? Or you just want to make some money off it? And as I stated before this to my students when I was a poetry teacher, there's no right or wrong way to do things. There's no right or wrong way to do poetry. It all counts on how you say it. It doesn't have to be the same. It doesn't have to match. It doesn't have to rhyme. You just say what you feel. That's what I feel fanboys should, actually do. You say what you feel. You like this because of this. That's good. But as I stated before, don't go as far as insulting people, okay? Because you wouldn't like it if somebody insulted you in kind. Also, don't force your opinion. Don't force your influence. Because let me tell you, it's not a good thing. That's the problem we have now around the world. We got people forcing their influence around, and people just get their shit out of hand. Whatever they talk about, it gets out of hand. I can remember there was this one guy that actually talked about, races. And he said something about, why am I talking about some guy that I don't even know. He's from a different ethnicity, different to mine. And I simply state, um, I'm showing respect. I had to say my piece about this person that I know I've never met, yet I don't believe in. I don't believe in how he should have went, and I'm talking about Juwario, mind you, because I had said my piece about it, and that was it. About this guy, yeah, I I banned him. I banned him from my channel because honestly, when it's a serious thing, yeah, I'm gonna talk about it, and to me, this is a serious matter because this is our generation. I mean, some of us may have grown in different decades, but we're all part of this generation, and we should respect each other's views as they should be respected. Because you're looking at this in a whole different area, and to say you don't like this because of this, and to go about calling each other names and start flame wars and whatnot, that's not cool. I, for one, have seen a lot of it, and I've been a part of it. And I don't like being a part of it because I don't want to hear about this is better than this. I said, no, there's nothing better than this. It's all about personal opinion. And that's what I'm going to basically base it down to personal opinion. You like it, that's good, but don't go shoving it down somebody's throat. That was a long, 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 long video. I know it's been long, but like I said, if you find anything offensive to what I said, that's too goddamn bad because you had to suck it up. You're entitled to your own opinion, but don't come at me like I don't know what I'm talking about. That's all I'm going to say. I never said challenge me. All I said, is you're welcome to suit your own opinion. Just don't go as far as saying, I'm wrong for saying this. I'm wrong for doing this. Because I'm feeling this in my heart. I feel I should say what I need to say about it. And if you feel like you need to say something about it, please. If you want to add your 2 cents to this whole ordeal, to this issue, please go right ahead. I'm curious to what you think. Because, like I said, this generation has to really grow up in a sense that they need that. Okay, it's just a game. Don't let the game control you, and that's really what it all comes down to. It's all about self-control. Don't go crazy, or else you will lose control of yourself, and thus you'll go insane. So with that, my good friends, my good people, if you have listened to all of what I've said throughout possibly well, it's not going to be a half, I can tell you that right now. It's probably going to be like more than an hour. But please, if you have listened to this entirety of this video and not skip through this video, because if you skip, you might miss something. I applaud you if you have listened through every bit and piece of this video. Because honestly, I would hate to see where this will lead to if something is not done, if something doesn't say about it, if something doesn't say anything about it. I'm not saying it has to stop. I'm just saying it has to have better etiquette than that. That's all I'm going to say. So with that, I have been the Tenkaichi of Gaming. If you like this video as well as many other videos in the past I've done, whether it's gaming or news related, whether it's one of my videos I've done in the past, present, or what I plan to do in the future, please subscribe and feel free to share this article to your friends, because they need to know this as much as you need to know it. So stay tuned for more Saturday morning RPG videos in the not so far future. So with that, I have been the Tenkaichi of Gaming, Pookie Izzy 7, aka Ichigo Musco, and I will see you next time with more videos. Until then, take care, God bless, and of course, Tenkai Muso!